Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today is very auspicious day of appearance day of His Lordship, His Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Yes, who is most merciful manifestation of the Supreme Absolute Truth, who delivers even the most fallen and degraded living entities. So we can pray for His mercy that He can glance upon us with His merciful glance and save us from this maya of illusion, yes, that we can surrender wholeheartedly to the Supreme Lord. Yes. So, yesterday we discussed the first chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. And we said that Arjuna, as well as Arjuna and Duryodhana, they had the same materialistic tendencies or consciousness, but the difference was that Arjuna was pious and Duryodhana was demoniac. And actually, these demoniac and pious tendencies are in the heart of every living entity. Yeah, so everyone has his Duryodhana in his heart. And everyone has also Arjuna in his heart. Yes. And the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā is to come to Arjuna's level and follow his path, not path of Duryodhana. There is a saying I believe it's from North American Indians, that there are two wolves or two dogs in our heart. Have you heard about this? Yes. Yeah. A vicious dog and a good dog. And they really struggle to supremacy or one over another. And who will win? The one who will feed. Yeah.
I thought because you're here in the material world, the bad one.
Yes, and the bad one many times wins, but then Krishna intervenes and helps the good dog to prevail. Okay. If we are inclined to become his servants, then he is inclined to help us. Otherwise, we are left on our own. So, although as we presented, as we said that Arjuna presented his arguments why he won't fight, that it's not right to fight even. Krishna did not agree with him. And it was very interesting what was Krishna's first reaction. Kuttastva kashmalamidam visham yesam upasitam anarya jushtam asvargam akirtim karam Arjuna. So what are you, from where these impurities came in your heart? Arjuna was presenting his arguments on the basis of dharma. Yes. And what we have heard from authorities. But Krishna is asking him from where these impurities have come to your heart. And these impurities are not befitting of a person who knows what is the value of life. and of Arya, of Aryan. So the Aryan is not one with blonde hair and blue eyes, as Nazi Germans try to present. But Aryan is one who knows the purpose and of life and what is the value of life. This is true Aryan. Yes. So one who is spiritually elevated person is an Aryan. So he says it's not befitting you, and this is not proper to be weak-hearted. And then Arjuna tried to further progress his points, and he said, how can I face Bhishma and Drona? They're worthy of my worship, actually. Yes, they were my worshipable lords. How can you say that I should kill them? It's impossible for me to kill them. Yes. And we said that Bhishma was his only protector when his father died, and Vidura. And he was his grandfather, most lovable person. And then Drona, he loved Arjuna so much, more than his own son, actually, Ashwatthama. And he taught Arjuna more than he taught Ashwatthama. Yes. So they had extremely loving relationship, Drona and Arjuna. Yes. Arjuna was so eager to learn that he practiced day and night. And this is true qualification of a disciple, to be extremely eager to learn. That you are not lazy. Yes. And completely focused on your goal. Once there was a test from Dronacharya, and he called all of his disciples and said that they had to shoot an eye of a wooden bird on a tree. And he asked his different disciples, what do they see? And Yudhishthira had said that, yes, I see the tree, I see you, I see the bird. And he said, okay, put down the bow. And he called for Bhima. And Bhima said that he sees the bird and he sees the eye. And he says, okay, put down the bow. And then he called for Arjuna. And he asked him, what do you see? And he said, I see the eye. And what else do you see? I see just the eye. Don't you see the bird? No, I see just the eye. And he said, okay, shoot. And he shot directly to the center of the eye. Yes. So this should be our focus in spiritual life. Like laser beam on one spot. And everything that is getting on our way, we should remove it. Yes. And then Arjuna said that it would be better to go to the forest, practically to take sannyas, that means, than to live for the price of the blood of his superiors. Even though these Bhishma and Drona may be covetous for wealth and fame and kingdom, but it would be better for me to go to the forest than to live for the sake of the blood of my superiors. But Krishna didn't move, and this confused Arjuna. And he said, Krapanya dosho bhakata svapabhaha, pichamitvan dharma samudachita. Yachrekstvam nishchitam bruhitami, shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanam. This most important verse in the beginning of Bhagavad-gītā. Why? Because he admitted that he doesn't know what is really dharma and what is not. And Krishna explains in 18th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, who don't know, which people don't know what is dharma and what is not. You remember? In the mode of passion. Yes, in the mode of passion. So, and for Kshatriyas, it is well known that they are in the mode of passion. So Arjuna is acting in the mode of passion. And so he doesn't know what is true dharma and what is not. But he's turning to Krishna. And he says, I'm now your disciple. Please instruct me. But it's very interesting because Arjuna doesn't stop here. Yes, he says, I'm your disciple, please instruct me. And one would think that now he'll just listen to the instruction of his spiritual master, what he has to do. But no, he doesn't stop. And he says, but oh Govinda, I will not fight. So what kind of a disciple he is, actually? It's just a lip service disciple. Yes, I'm disciple. And for example, you're a cook. You studied for being a cook. And it's the only thing you know, how to cook. And you come to your spiritual master and say to him, I am your surrendered soul, but I will not cook. So what will you do if you won't cook? So it's the same with Arjuna. Arjuna was a fighter. Yes, his education was how to fight. And his duty was to fight. And he wasn't trained for anything else than just to fight, actually. And he says, okay, I'm your surrendered soul, completely surrendered, but I will not fight. And then Krishna is smiling. Yes. Krishna is smiling because he knows this type of consciousness, and this is cheating consciousness, actually. And as long as we are not sincere, we always cheat others and ourselves also. We cheat ourselves. For example, these weaknesses that Arjuna presented in his in the first chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, and here a classic example how we respond to our weaknesses. We try to cover our weaknesses in the cloak of virtue. Yes, this is very important to understand. We try to present to ourselves and to whole world that we are virtuous. Yes, we try to hide our weaknesses and present them as the virtue itself. Yes. So Arjuna was weak and he didn't want to fight. He had material attachments, strong material attachments. And he tried to present these material attachments as virtue. I will not fight because it's not proper to spill the blood of my relatives and friends. It's not proper because the whole society will go to hell. It's not proper because these superiors, my superiors, are worthy of my worship. Yes, like Bhishma and Drona. And he mentioned so many reasons. And this is another point that we should understand. When we want to find excuses, you can check yourself and even others. When there are excuses, there are always more than one excuse. Every time one is searching for excuses, he will find at least two excuses why something is not possible to be done. Yes. So we can take this as an exercise to observe ourselves. If we don't want to do anything, something, we usually find more than one excuse. Yes. Then it's firmly established. Why it's impossible for us to do something. Yes. So yes, Krishna was smiling at Arjuna's arguments, and then he says something. He says something very important, and he says, "Ashochanam vashoshastvam pragavatam shabashase gatasam agatasam nana shochanti pandita." That you are lamenting for something that is not worthy of lament. Don't lament. Don't be sad. Ashochan. Yes. And he concludes Bhagavad-gītā with Mashucha. Sarva dharmam parityajya mam ekam sharanam vaja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaishami mashucha. So, from the beginning to the end, Bhagavad-gītā is the scripture that delivers us from misery, from fear, from anxiety. Yes. From lamentation. So we should understand, from the beginning of Krishna's teaching to the end, is just meant for this, to bring us out of lamentation, of suffering, yes, and anxiety. So his first teaching to Arjuna is that he is not this body. This is the first thing that we should understand, that we are not this body. Yes. This is so important that Prabhupada, first years of his preaching, spent only with this point. You're not this body. Yes. Especially, he quoted, Dehinosmin yata dehi kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirasta taranamuhyati. Yes. As the embodied soul passes from childhood, boyhood, and young age and old age, so the soul also passes from one body to another at the time of death. And the sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Yes. So it's a scientific fact. Prabhupada put so much stress on this scientific observation, we can say, that Krishna is presenting here, that soul passes through different stages of life, and constantly changing the body. Constantly changing the body. Yes. Even scientists say that every 7 years, the whole sets of cells in the body are changed. Yes. Not even one cell remains the same. All the cells are changed. So many times we have completely changed our body already. And even the state acknowledges this change of body and acknowledges that it is the same person. And so we have to change our our passport every 10 years. And when we are young, small child, we have to change it in 5 years, I believe. At least in Slovenia it's like this. Every 5 years. When you're grown up, you have to change your passport every 10 years.
In Sweden it's 5.
Sorry?
In Sweden it's 5.
Here is 5 years in Sweden? Even for grown-up people? Okay, in Slovenia it's 10. And for little children? Also 5. Okay. So, Shipanchatattva ki jai. So you can see, even the state recognizes reincarnation. Unknowingly recognizes reincarnation. Yes. So yes, he explains, you're not this body. You see these kings on this field. They all existed before. And you and I also. And we will all exist in the future. So no one dies. Yes. And whatever you perceive that it is true, if it is temporary, it's illusion. It's not true. Yes. That only the thing that is everlasting is really true. Yes. So we can see these forms we can perceive in this world. Everything is just illusion. Yes. Because the body is constantly changing. But not just the body. Everything changes all the time. It's not even for the fraction of a moment that is stable, that is not changing. It's always changing. So, and what we perceive just a reflection of the light from this object, isn't it? And this light is traveling some time from the object to our eyeball, isn't it? It's a fraction of a time because light goes very quickly, but still, there is still some time. So what we perceived is already gone. Doesn't exist anymore. So whatever we see is just an illusion. Yes. Hare Krishna. So we perceive what is non-existent actually. Yes. But matter is everlasting. Yes. It just transforms from one form to another, but it's eternal reality. So matter is not illusion. Illusion is what we perceive that it is true, because it is not. Yes. And Krishna tries to teach this to Arjuna. Yes, how everything is you perceive is illusion, but only the soul is true reality. And soul doesn't die at any time. And it cannot be destroyed by anything. Not by weapon, not by fire, not by water, not by anything. And this soul is achintya. We cannot grasp the soul. We cannot see the soul. We cannot measure the soul. It's aprameyasya. Yes. So when Shastra and Prabhupada many times quotes says that it's like a 10,000th of a tip of a hair, this is just comparison, that we can understand how infinitesimal the soul is. But we should really understand that it's aprameyasya, as Krishna says. It's immeasurable. So it's completely transcendental. Has nothing to do with tips of the hair, actually. Yes. It cannot be measured. And it's sarvagatam stanur. That means it's omnipresent. The souls are everywhere. We should know that the spirit is everywhere. And the particles of spirit are also everywhere. There is not even a fraction of a space that would be without living entities. Unlimited living entities. Literally unlimited. Because this Krishna's Shaktis are unlimited. So it's incomprehensible for material mind and intelligence to understand this. Yes. It's completely beyond the intelligence, because this is spiritual energy, and whatever is spiritual is beyond material logic. Yes. So it cannot be understood by spiritual material arguments. Yes. So, although Krishna presented this very scientifically and logically also, Arjuna couldn't understand. He didn't show any sign that he understood anything. So, next, Krishna tried to teach him to press on his kshatriya ego. Yes. And he said that you should perform your duty. It's your kshatriya duty to perform it. And besides this, if there is such a fight as this is just what every kshatriya would hanker for. Yes. Imagine that you are training for Olympic Games, and then the Olympic Games come, and you decided not to participate. It would be crazy. You trained your whole life for this event to become an Olympian champion. And now the time comes and you withdraw from the tournament, from the competition. And actually this fighting for Kshatriyas was something like this, like a competition actually. Something to enjoy. And he didn't want to fight. And actually, whatever the result is, you benefit. If you lose, that means you are killed, you go to heaven. So you enjoy. And if you win, you enjoy glory and kingdom on earth. So whatever the result is, you benefit from such a fight. So you better fight. And if you don't fight, you will commit sin. And he reversed Arjuna's arguments. Arjuna said before, if I fight, I will commit sin. And now Krishna says, if you won't fight, you will commit sin. and not that just you will commit sin, you will become infamous. And this infamy is, for a respected person, worse than death. Yes. And it's true. There was a case in Slovenia that the director of a school was caught by the students in some awkward position with some teacher, a lady teacher. And they were shooting with the phone because there were some windows above the door, and they climbed up and shooting them.
With a gun?
No, with the camera, video.
Oh, the gun.
Yes, video shooting, not gun shooting. And they published this online on the internet. And this was such blow for his respect that he committed suicide. Yes. And that confirms Krishna's warning to Arjuna that infamy is worse than death for one who is respected. And these great generals will consider you a weakling, that you ran off the battlefield just because of fear. Yes. And not just that your enemies will speak bad words about you. Yes. Can you imagine? Duryodhana and Karna will laugh at you. Ha ha ha. So what can be worse from this for you? Krishna asked Arjuna. Yes. And then he said, just fight. And just fight. And in this way you will not commit sin if you perform your duty unattached. And here is the first time that Krishna points out that he should perform his duties unattached. Yes. And then Arjuna still didn't respond. And Krishna started to explain, as he himself put it, buddhi-yoga. And as we explained, yoga is to connect. So every yoga is actually bhakti. But this other, other words along with yoga, like buddhi yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, this yoga, that yoga, means that there are also other things added to bhakti. Yes. So only connection with the Supreme possible is bhakti. Yes. There is no other connection with transcendence actually than with bhakti. So and that is explained, bhakti is only path that is paramasvatantra, completely independent on anything else. Yes, on no other process. But every other process is completely dependent on bhakti. Therefore, even jnanis and mayavadis, they perform some bhakti. And therefore you will see that there are mayavadis who sing kirtan. Yes, and one would think, yes, especially if he's not, he doesn't know much about bhakti, they will think, yes, this is the same. They sing kirtan, here they sing kirtan. Yes, but it's completely different. Yes, so every yoga is actually bhakti. And we don't have so much time. So he tried to present Buddhi Yoga to Arjuna. Buddhi Yoga, Buddhi means intelligence. So how to develop devotional service through intelligence. Yes, and first thing he says here is that one should be completely focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhirekeha kurunandana bhukhshaka hyanantascha buddhavyo vyavasayanam. That one should be completely focused on his goal. If one is intelligent. Those who are not so focused, their intelligence is many-branched. Yes. As we said before, this example of Arjuna, that he shot the eye of a bird. Yes, that should be our focus. Completely focused on bhakti. We shouldn't see anything else. Just bhakti. And connect everything with bhakti. That doesn't mean that we just chant 24 hours a day like Haridas Thakur. Of course, this is also beneficial. But if it's not possible for us, then we should connect everything with bhakti. Yes. With this idea, I am the servant of the servants of Krishna. And then Krishna explains to him that that Arjuna should focus only on spiritual reality, and he shouldn't be afraid what the material life will bring him. Yes, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nisraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirvandvo Nityasatvastu Niryogakshima Atmavan. Don't be afraid about material things. Just devote yourself to spiritual development. Yes. And forget about the injunctions of the Vedas, which deal mostly with the three modes of material nature. Yes. Rise above and completely dedicate your life to spiritual understanding. And since you are not qualified for sannyas, Krishna says to Arjuna, Karma nyeva dikarasti ma paleshu kadachana, ma karma pala heturbur mate sangosta karmani. You are not qualified to take sannyas. If there would be some, it's interesting because some acharyas say that if there would be Uddhava instead of Arjuna, maybe Krishna would agree for him to go to the forest because he was qualified to take sannyas. But Arjuna wasn't. And therefore he says, Karma nyeva dikarasti. Only karma is your adhikar. Yes. So you are qualified for performing your duties. So as long as we are not qualified to take sannyas, our duty is to perform some social role duties. Yes. So this is important to understand. Karma niyeva dikarasti. Ma paleshu kadachana. But on the other side, this is completely reverse from material logic. Material logic is I work because I want to achieve something. I want to gain something. Isn't it? I want to get money. I want to get recognition. I want to build something. I want to contribute something. And I'm attached to what I do, to what I try to achieve. But Krishna says, no, you have a right to perform your action, or actually you are qualified to do your work, but you are not entitled to the results. Yes, so results are not yours. Yes, and it's interesting because Krishna stresses this attitude from throughout Bhagavad-gītā. Because it's so ingrained in conditioned soul that he thinks, yes, I'm performing some work to get some benefit from it, isn't it? Yes, but Krishna says, no, this is not proper attitude. You should not be attached to the results. Yes, that doesn't mean that we lose our enthusiasm. Krishna explains in 18th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, Mukta sanga naham vadin, drityutsaha samanvita, siddhya siddhyo nirvikara, karta satvikam uchati. That karta, that means the performer of work, who is in sattva guna, is mukta sanga, he's not attached. And nahamvadi, he doesn't identify with the body, with his false ego. But he's drityutsaha samanvita. He's firmly established in enthusiasm. Driti and utsaha. Yes. He's extremely determined and enthusiastic about performing his work. Yeah. And he never wavers in his determination. Yes, this is how one who is in the mode of goodness performs his work. Yes. So we should try to understand what this Krishna is trying to teach us through Arjuna, that we should be completely focused and enthusiastic about about the service that we perform. Yes, not do it with lukewarm heart. Lukewarm. Jesus said that you should be either hot or cold. If you are lukewarm, I will spit you out. I will spit you out, he says, if you are lukewarm. You should be either hot or cold. Yes, that means you have to have a character and stand firmly for what you believe and perform enthusiastically, with great enthusiasm. Therefore, also Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha nishchayatarya tat karma parvartanat, sangatyagat satovriti, shadbir bhakti prasidati. That utsaha or enthusiasm is the first requirement in spiritual growth. Without enthusiasm, everything is dead. Yes. Without enthusiasm, a person is a zombie. Yeah. Walking dead. Yes. So we should be very enthusiastic. We should be very enthusiastic. This is a sign of life. Yes. And we can see how Prabhupada, at the age of 70 and 75 and 80, he was extremely enthusiastic. We can just see his lectures, how his mimics and yes, his hand movements and full enthusiasm. Really, you can check and see by yourself. Yes. So, and then after this Buddha yoga, and here is also the definition of yoga actually by Krishna himself. He doesn't mention devotional service though, but he says Samatvam yoga uchate. How is the beginning of the verse? Karma nivatikarasti ma phaleshu katachana ma karma phale heturbur mate sangostatami. Yogastah kur karmani sangantaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo nivikara samatvam yoga uchate. Yes, that you should be always in such a state of I will read. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Yes, so he teaches him actually here Buddhi yoga with the of course also karma yoga, because the first 6 chapters are teaching karma yoga actually. By the way, Bhagavad-gītā is described as a treasure chest. Have you heard this before? Yes. Is anyone who didn't hear this? Bhagavad-gītā is a treasure chest. You didn't hear. So I can explain. It's golden chest, and the lid is covered by precious gems. Golden lid with precious gems inlaid. So body of the chest is compared with first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā that present karma yoga. And the lid of this treasure chest is also golden with inlaid jewels. And it presents last 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā that are called Jnana Yoga. And the treasure itself, which is much more precious than the chest, is middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā that are dealing with bhakti-yoga. Yes. And there are a key to open this chest. And these are 2 last instructions of Krishna in 18th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyachimam namaskuru. Mama veshesi satyanti pratitjani priyosime. And sarva dharman pajityacha mam ekam sharanam vaja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishime mashucha. Yes, these 2 verses, always think of me, become my devotee, offer me homage and respect, and you will definitely come to me. I promise you, because you are my very dear friend. And abandon all kinds of religiosity, of religion, and just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sins. Do not fear. Yes, these 2 verses are the key to the treasure. So, if one wants to open the chest and reach the treasure, the only way is to become a devotee, completely surrendered to Krishna. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Yes, surrender completely unto me. Yeah. So Bhagavad-gītā actually teaches complete surrender from the beginning to the end. Yes. Then Krishna explains in the last part of 2nd chapter of Bhagavad-gītā that one who is wise will not engage in sense gratification. Yes, this is most important message of the last part of Bhagavad-gītā. One who is wise will not engage in sense engagement, in sense enjoyment, trying to enjoy his senses. But he warns Arjuna. He says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dekhinah rasavarjam rasopasya param drishtvā nivartate. One may refrain from sense enjoyment, but if he doesn't taste anything higher, he will fall prey to senses. Yes, this is very important to understand. And then he explains what is the way not to fall prey to the senses. And then he explains bhakti. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta sitamatpara vashehi asyendrani dasya pragapatishtita. Yes, you should perform everything for my pleasure. If you perform everything for my pleasure, you'll be protected from lust, actually, which is the deadly enemy of the soul, and that will be explained in the 3rd chapter. Yes. So basically, this is the message of the 2nd chapter. I shortened it a little bit, but we mentioned most important points. Is there any question or comment or doubt?
Yeah, you're saying that Arjuna is coming up with excuses instead of immediately accepting Krishna. Sometimes I think it's also important that from one's own understanding and one's own problems and one's own perspective, it's important to bring those reasonings up, because otherwise one cannot get the good and counter argument of the so to just be quiet and just accept it, but then maybe these doubts will linger, and it is better to bring it up it's more proper for a disciple to bring these things up.
Yes, we should understand that he brought up these doubts before he accepted Krishna as his spiritual master. But then he realized that I'm confused and I don't know what is proper and what is not. So now I completely surrender to you. Please instruct me. But also after this declaration of complete surrender, he didn't express his doubts or questions, but he just outright denied that he will perform a service. He says, I will not fight. He didn't express, should I fight or should I not fight, or maybe it would be beneficial if I wouldn't fight. No, he said, I won't fight. Yes. So you should be clear, I won't fight. Yes. So, yes, this is the mentality of a not sincere disciple, actually. But Krishna didn't start with just stand up and fight, as later on mentions this. But he wisely leads his disciple that he can understand later on why he wants him to fight. Yes. So one should be also very careful about who he accepts as a spiritual master. Yes. So one should accept personality that he is able to lead him to proper understanding. Yes.
You were mentioning that after Krishna explained Sankhya Yoga or about the soul, Arjuna didn't show any symptom of that he had understood that.
Yes.
So, but Arjuna doesn't say anything; he just remains quiet.
Yes.
And then Krishna goes on to the next this is about sakama karma yoga. He explains that it will be beneficial either way, whatever you choose. If you choose to fight, if you lose or win, and then Arjuna doesn't reply anything again, and then he continues. Why is it that Krishna just goes on? Is it to answer all of his different doubts, or is it that Arjuna doesn't really understand what he's saying? Or
yes, he tries from different angles to teach Arjuna, not just from one point of view. Yes, you are a soul, and these bodies are not worthy of lament, and just kill them. Arjuna and Bhishma, who is old person, will get new, fresh body. No, it's not enough, because we are attached to certain relationship. Understand? And so we are not a machine to just kill someone because with this understanding that he'll get a new body. Yes. So he tried to present different angles of understanding to Arjuna, and that he would ultimately understand what is beneficial for him and what is beneficial for the whole society, and so on. So first he begins with Sankhya Yoga, as you mentioned, and then he explains actually what he's explaining with this about his duties is not even Nishkam Karma Yoga, Sakam Karma Yoga. It's actually outright Karma Kanda activities. Yes, just perform your Varnashrama role as a Kshatriya with the promise that he will go to heaven if he will be killed, or enjoy kingdom on earth. Yes, if he will win. So this is not yoga at all, actually. But in the sense, because Krishna established this four varnas and ashramas, Chaturvarnam mayashashtam guna karma vibhagasha tasyakartaram apimam vidyakartaram avayam. He explains in 4th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā that this is his system. So even if you don't connect with me in some yoga, if you follow the principles of my system, it will be beneficial for you and for the whole society. Yes. So, so this is the level of understanding that Arjuna must have understood, because he was trained in Varnashrama consciousness. And then later on he tried to explain also Buddha Yoga and yes, and with also some elements of bhakti inside. And what is the nature of our perception or desires, how these desires develop, because he explains the whole path of material attachment. Dhyayato vishayam pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamat kroto bijayate. That if one meditates on thinks about something, he'll get attached, and this attachment will lead to anger, and this anger will lead to loss of memory and loss of discrimination, and then everything collapses again to just gross material consciousness. Yes. So.
One more question. I asked this to a few different persons and I got different answers. I'd like to hear your. Arjuna's good reasoning about Varna Shankara, and that if he engages in the war, he will be the cause of that Varna Shankara is born, and this like degradation of society.
Yes.
So, but how does, because all the arguments that Arjuna gives, Krishna answers in the second chapter. So what is his answer to that? What is his argument to defeat Arjuna's doubt?
About Varna Sankara.
If he kills, then there will be singing women, and that they will be polluted and degraded.
Yes. First, he says that if he will not fight, he will commit sin. Yes, because if you will not fight, then maybe family tradition will not be lost outwardly, but because the demoniac people will lead the society, everything will be corrupted. Understand? Even if the rituals will be followed, but the spirit will be demoniac. So it will also be lost if you not fight. But if you fight and you win the war, then you can save society from degradation. Because if Duryodhana will rule the world, everything will be demoniac, because he's a demon. Yes, so it's your duty to preserve the society from this demoniac degradation that is facing if Duryodhana wins the war, or wins because you don't want to fight. Yes. So it's your duty to protect through dharma. Yes. Yes, I think this is most important. What answers did you receive?
One answer was that Krishna says Traibunya Vishaya Veda, that he takes it beyond that you shouldn't be too much concerned with the prosperity of the world. You should do your duty and set an example, because if you don't set an example and fight and do your duty, then people in the future will, because you're a great man, will follow in your footsteps, and then that will cause degradation of society, because people won't perform the duty.
Yes.
Because Arjuna didn't do it.
Yes, this is the connected also. Yes, and this is one, and the other.
And also one, then he was referring to third chapter, saying that Krishna also says that that's where the answer comes in 3:24, where Krishna says that if I perform my duty, if
yes.
I wouldn't do it, then I will be the cause of Varna Shankara, because I'm not setting the example. That was his answer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the whole Bhagavad-gītā is actually pointing out that we should perform our duty unattached to the results. Yes. Krishna, yes.
I have a question about duty. We can observe among people in general that some are more dutiful, and some are, like you said, they find excuses. So if you, in general, are a more dutiful person, can one say then one is going in the direction of developing more the goodness? To make some progress because you are just a dutiful person.
So, actually, the question is if one is dutiful, if he's going towards the mode of goodness? Or is this a question? Yes, to perform our duty without considering success or failure, and not with the desire to attain any gain, this is a mode of goodness. But if we perform our duties with desire to gain something from this, this is a mode of passion. Yes. But if we don't perform our duties, this is mode of ignorance. So we can see there are, of course, these tendencies in every one of us, actually. For ordinary people who don't really strive to rise above these modes, they are mostly in passion and ignorance. Yes. But when you strive to get on a spiritual level, you have to perform your work on the bodily level, in the mode of goodness. Yes. But not with your consciousness. Your consciousness should be bhakti. I perform this as your servant, not because it's my duty, but because I'm your servant. You should take all these duties as servants. Yes.
Because when you perform your duty, it's many times also like in the mode of passion. I mean, you do it but you offer it then. And then when you offer it, that is in the transcendental.
Yes. Work itself is a sign of mode of passion. Yes. Work itself, action itself, is the sign of mode of passion. Because in material world, no mode is standing alone. All modes are always present. So there is no pure ignorance, and there is no pure passion, and there is no pure goodness either, except transcendental goodness is pure goodness. It's completely beyond matter. But otherwise, this material goodness is never alone. There is always mix of passion and ignorance. So we have to use also passion and ignorance in devotional service. Yes, ignorance is, for example, sleep is in the mode of ignorance, but it can be used for service. Yes. So it's important not to just offer at the end. We should perform our work as servants. Yes. So we offer it before. we do our service with this idea, I'm a servant. Because if I offer it only at the end, this is called karma yoga. Then I have this consciousness, I'm my own master. But I offer my results to Krishna. And this is karma yoga. But bhakti is I'm a servant. I'm just a servant. And whatever I perform, whatever I do, is just service to Krishna. Yes, so it's offered before, not at the end.
Like when you
Yes.
to the asserted master
Yes.
in the consciousness.
Yes. And this is the same whatever service you perform. With this idea, I am a servant. Even if you go to work or whatever you do. Yes. You perform as a service. Yes.
Also in the second chapter, when Krishna starts to mention bhakti-yoga, then Prabhupada translates it often as devotional
Bhakti.
service.
Yes.
And but all the bhakti-yoga mentioned in the second chapter isn't devotional service, or how does it?
Yes, we should understand the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā is to bring us to bhakti, to complete surrender to Krishna. And although there are different types of yoga explained in Bhagavad-gītā, Acharyas explained it. These are not all bhakti. But still, the purpose of these teachings is bhakti. So it can be seen in this way, like Bhaktisiddhanta said about Srimad Bhagavatam, that every word is actually pointing to pure bhakti of Srimad Bhagavatam. But Srimad Bhagavatam also explains many different things. So we can understand in the same manner also Bhagavad-gītā, that everything that Krishna explains is just bhakti, supports bhakti. Yes, therefore Prabhupada translates everything as bhakti. Yeah. Because if we engage our intelligence in yoga, this is of course bhakti, and we should engage our intelligence in bhakti. And all his teachings are leading to this goal. So one should see these different teachings of Krishna as supportive to his conclusion. Because otherwise conclusion would be something against what he taught before, isn't it? Yeah. So he would be teaching different things, but this is not the case. You wanted to? Yes?
Yeah, when you say that you also before, not just the proof you do but as a servant, but this servant also includes that we are not the doers. Because you can think about service and think that you are doing this, but does it become service then? If you're not aware that you're not the doer?
If you are not aware that you are not the doer, can it then
You are actually performing service.
Krishna explains in 18th chapter that there are 5 factors of every action, and one of the factors are also the soul. So we are the doers in the sense that we want to perform some action, or we want to perform some service. In this regard, we are the doers, but the body itself is composed of matter, of these modes of material nature that have nothing to do with ourselves, with the soul, which is completely different from the body. So in that sense, we don't do anything, but our desire is one who directs this body, if it is sanctioned by the Lord. If it is not, then we cannot do anything. Even if we are most wealthy person, if we are diseased, we cannot eat anything. Although we have maybe desire to eat, and but it's not sanctioned, so we cannot eat. Even though we may be surrounded by most delicious food, but we cannot even have a morsel of it if it is not. And we have a desire and we want to eat, but we cannot if it is not the Lord's will.
So then my question was, if you're not aware of this, can you say that it's that you're already performing service then? If you're in the consciousness of this is what I'm doing for you. I'm the creator, so to say, of my.
Yes, Bhakti is not dependent so much on these understandings. This is jnana, these understandings. And Bhakti shouldn't be covered by jnana. Yeah, jnana karmadya navritam is definition. The most important thing that we understand is that we are the servants. And this is Bhakti. That we are in favor of Krishna and we would like to please him. This is most important to understand. And whatever we do in this type of consciousness, this is Bhakti. And of course, we should understand that we are not this body that that soul transmigrates from one body to another, that we are not the doers ultimately, and so on. This is not against Bhakti to understand this, but if this in any way hampers your Bhakti, it's not beneficial. Yes. So most important is our heart in Bhakti. Yes. So our heart should be with this idea: I'm your servant. I want just to please you. I want to make you happy. This is my prayer, that you would be pleased.
Then, if you do bhakti like that, although it might not be so pure, but with the idea to please Krishna, then you'll get the understanding also that it can become more pure.
Yes, Krishna is explaining this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shrimvatah svakatah Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantah stohya badrani vidunoti suhritsatam. That Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart, and if he is pleased with our devotional service, he will completely remove all abhadrani, everything that is inauspicious from our heart. He himself. It's not in our power to clean the impurities from our heart. It's only in Krishna's power to do that. So he will cleanse our heart himself, personally. And Krishna also explains in 10th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mama payanti te. That if one is engaged in devotional service, he will give him understanding to achieve him. Yes. So definitely, if we have this service attitude towards Krishna, with desire to please him, to love him, then he will help us. Yes.
When I came to the moment, I didn't know anything. I just appears in consciousness one day, and I just loved to make service from the first second. Before I even knew about Krishna, it was just like, wow.
Yes.
Some kind of mercy, or?
Yes. Krishna is merciful. Krishna helps us to approach him if we are sincere, and have this inclination to be pious at least.
I never was so happy in my whole life.
Yes.
I just feel so happy and everything was like...
Yes,
And I
yes.
didn't really know what's going on.
This is usually Krishna sends some mercy at the beginning, especially, that we can proceed later on when our determination should be shown also, and enthusiasm. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Bol.